In the last video, we looked at how to use an RGB LED component on our breadboard, and we just sort of split the signals coming off of our pins 13, 11, and 10, just using the simulation, something we talked about in the last video that you couldn't really do in real life. You'd have to use the breadboard in a different manner. But for the purposes of learning today, we might as well take advantage of that in the simulation environment and just go ahead and split a pin into two directly off the Arduino. So last video we showed how when the red light or the red LED on the left lights up, the red channel of the RGB LED lights up. What happens if we turn on two colors at the same time? Well, we should get a color mixing. And if we're going to do that, there's a few different ways we can do that. So rather than going LED light pin and turning a pin high and low, we could start passing in a couple pins. Okay, so we might want to do something like this. So now knowing that we have multiple lights hooked up and we have an RGB that takes 3 pins in general, we might want to alter our function light LED to include 3 variables. And we could call this pin R for red. We could call another int of pin B for blue, and a final int of pin G for the green channel. And in doing so, we can pass in values of high and low, what pins we want directly into the comments. So the problem with doing it this way is we can't actually toggle the high and low off. They're just going to all go on or off depending on which numbers we call. And while that might be acceptable, we may get an error in the future where the function says, hey, you know what, that doesn't work because I'm expecting 3 pins and you're only giving me 2. So rather than going with the pin approach, like we did in the last example, we could go with the Boolean approach of high and low, what we refer to as on and off. So rather than using int, pin R, pin B, pin G, we could use bool. And it's just the keyword B-O-O-L. B-O-O-L from prior lessons in grades 7 and 8 refers to the Boolean variable, the true and false, the yes or no. So we can tell these pins to turn on or off, and rather than calling them pin R, pin B, pin G, we might want to just call it red, blue, and green, so that we know exactly what we're dealing with. And we're going to remember that these take a bool of high and low. Okay, so we need to think about how do we turn 3 pins on at once. Well, we would capture this and maybe copy it and paste it twice, and then do the same thing here for the off command. And then we're going to have to go through and actually hard code the pins for now. And there's other ways to do this, but this is the way we're going to try today. So we have 13, 12, and 11. And we no longer have pin 10, so I'm going to delete that from our code altogether and delete it from the loop altogether. So we have pin 13, 12, and 11 set to high, and then we would want to repeat that down here, 13, 12, and 11 for turning off. However, we want to control this high state of on and off before we turn everything off. So rather than high, we could type in red. Rather than high on pin 12, we could type in blue. And then for the last value, we could type in green, because we're going to pass in the high and low values using these Boolean variables. So I could come up here, we can get rid of our function calls, and rather than passing in 13, which was a pin number from our previous example, we could pass in something like this: high, low, low. So if I think about this function call in relation to this function definition, I can see that the first variable of high is going to target my red, the second variable of low will target my blue, and the third variable of low will target my green. It will enter in sequential order, exactly as how it's written. So in this case, my red light should turn on because it's no longer red, but it's going to be replaced with the word high, and then my blue and green should go low. So when I hit start simulation, I should only see the red channel light up. So let's go ahead and try that. So there's the red channel, and we can see that it just loops in repeat forever. So if I hit stop simulation, and I consider what do I want to do to maybe get another channel going, I could copy this function call, and I'll copy it out twice, and we'll go something like that. And rather than saying high, low, low, maybe I want to go low, and then I want to replace this middle one with high. And sorry, I keep forgetting to go all uppercase. And then maybe this last one wants to go low, low, high. So So this should give us a similar output as what we started with in terms of turning the red and then the blue and then the green all on in sequential order. So let's go ahead and hit start simulation and see. And there's the red, there's the blue, and there's the green. That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and hit stop. And now using this, we can understand, or at least begin to understand how we could mix some colors. So maybe what I want to do is create another function down here. And the question I want to leave for you in this video is how would you modify this line where it says low, low, high to turn both the red and the green light on at the same time? And what color do you expect the RGB LED to turn? So go ahead, try that out, pause the video, and then come back when you're done and see if it is confirmed with what I'm about to show you. So go ahead, go pause the video, don't cheat, give it a break, and then we'll come back. So after pausing the video and trying it out, hopefully you got it to light up. And just for the purposes of this video, if I go and I type in high, low, high, so turning on the blue and the green and leaving, or sorry, turning on the red and the green and leaving the blue off, you'll see that the light will change to a yellowish color here in a second. And here we go. We'll see both red and green are on at the same time, and we got yellow on the RGB. That's pretty cool. So what if I wanted to just get to this line of code right away? Well, remember that comment feature? I could come in here and just comment these lines out, and we'll hide them from the simulation for now, just so I can see the red and green coming on together and creating yellow. That's pretty cool. So I can hit stop simulation, and I can come in here and say, okay, yeah, this is the color yellow. And then I could repeat this process to see what the other combinations give. So what I'd like you to do at this point is now pause the video again and change these color combinations out, and then comment in the colors that you get. So go ahead, pause the video. Remember, this is for your own instruction, it's for your own learning, so it's no benefit of just keeping on going and listening to the video. Make sure you pause at this point and try it out. All right, so hopefully you've tried to go high, low, high, maybe low, high, high. Maybe you wanted to go high, high, low. And I'm trying to think of what else we have. Oh, everything high. Okay, so we have high, low, high, which would be red and green. We have high or low, high, high, which would be blue and green. We have high, high, low, which is red and blue. And then we have everything high, and that's all of them on. So we're going to hit and start simulation and watch the colors that are produced. So there's our yellow from before the pause. There's a cyan color. There's a purple color. And there's a whitish color. But it can't really produce white light on the simulation. Okay, so we went yellow, cyan, purple, and white when all the colors were on. So now we have color combinations to mix these various colors. This is sort of a good natural breaking point for RGB lights, functions, variables, and everything else associated with this sketch. I highly recommend you play around with the code, see how you can manipulate these values to make some different colors, how you can change with the delay statements to change the length, and even going as far as maybe getting a second LED, going ahead and using different pins, maybe pins 9, 8, and 7, and having two color LEDs flashing in unison together or opposite colors at the same time. This is a really good chance or a really good point in the lesson for you to sit down and experiment and spend some time really digging deep into what all of this means. Thanks for watching.